Mr. Reeves, please don't sign that. The whole ballroom froze on that one sentence, forks mid-air, laughter stuck in people's throats, me standing there with a tray of champagne flutes and a heartbeat I could feel in my teeth. I knew how it looked. Black slacks, non-slip shoes, the invisible girl at the fancy party. But I also knew what I'd just seen in that contract. And once you see a knife hiding in the fine print, you can't unsee it. You know what I mean? I was born Maya Carter, raised over a barbershop, where my Aunt Lila kept a calculator with one missing foot, and a stack of case studies permanently camped on the kitchen table nights smelled like tea she never finished and highlighter ink. And she taught me how money moves, how wolves say standard when they mean trap, so even while I poured champagne I read. I counted commas, I followed verbs, and in the middle of the Harborview Grand's ballroom, crystal everywhere, a chandelier bright enough to make you blink, I spotted it in Reeves Dynamics' acquisition agreement with Horizon Vale, an accelerated collateral call tied to an upstream pledge. Schedule K pointing to Schedule Q, springing lean language that could swallow a parent company whole in 30 days. I said it out loud, and the room reacted like I'd told a joke I didn't understand. Velvet bow tie guy made a crack about servers doing securities law, icicle earrings, asked if they teach M plus and A with side salads. Now my manager Eddie floated in with that please don't make me fire you smile. And I still didn't move because Colton Reeves was looking at me, not laughing, reading my face the way a person reads a hairline crack in a champagne flute, cautious and curious at the same time. If I'm wrong, it costs you 5 minutes, I said, keeping the tray level the way Eddie taught me if I'm right. It costs you everything you built. He told me to show him, so I talked him there. Footnote 7 definition of collateral expansion. Event jump to notice and cure, see how in its sole judgment marries without undue delay and turns a runway into a sprint. And the laughers went quiet when his eyebrow twitched, because the moment a man like that hits a line that hits back, the air changes temperature. Damian Cross from Horizon Vale tried to take the wheel with that easy tan smile and the you can trust me vibe of a guy who owns boats he never touches ult. We vetted this for months, he said. Like friendship was an argument, don't spook the room over buzzwords. Server, I said, when he called me waitress, and I learned those words from my aunt, so we wouldn't get scammed. And then because I know how floors tilt when men like Damien get momentum, I slid a text to Dr. Ellison Park, my aunt's friend, the forensic bloodhound, who ran our community class for whoever wanted to learn why they got steamrolled. Accelerated collateral call upstream, pledge K, and Q Horizon Vale. Smell like asset strip. He wrote back one word, reeks, then where, and I told him. Ballroom B, he said, stay put. And my pulse said, yeah, that happened. Here's the part that didn't make the glossy versions. 3 weeks earlier, I heard Damien arguing on the loading dock in fast-clipped Italian. Not a tourist's menu talk, but the kind you learn from deals and deadlines. I caught finestra pulire scadenza, window clean deadline, and the words lived in my ear like a siren. So when the head table took a smoke break and the agreement sat open like a dare, I photographed the sections that looked like a fist, not to play spy for sport. But because people like me don't get keys, we learn floor plans by doing coat check, and sometimes you plant your feet. Alicia Voss. Reeves's lawyer arrived at caution at first, then went white when she saw Schedule Q line 12. Doug the private counsel was on his way. Shareholders stopped auditioning their laughs and started reading for real. Eddie hissed my name like a prayer. And then the doors opened, and Dr. Park walked in with a leather satchel and the quiet of a man who knows exactly why you called. He laid out paper. Like a magician lays out a deck you thought was regular until it wasn't your server, just saved you from an elegant bear trap, he said. Eyes on the clauses, Horizon Vale is capitalized through shells tied to a logistics consortium that moved 180 million through scrap invoices that never matched shipping manifests. You don't need the case name to smell the detergent. Bowtie asked for English and Dr. Park said, laundry, plain as weather. Alicia said, pause the signing. Damien said, no, we move. And then the second set of doors opened, and two people in Navy windbreakers with Illinois State Security's task force, stitched over the heart, stepped in. No drama, no guns, just authority that fills a room like rain. They asked to speak with Mr. Cross about filings and communications, mentioned questions for Mr. Gray, the quiet law partner at the end of the table. And phones got bagged while the head table remembered how silence works. Through all of it, I kept the tray steady because old habits even in new weather. And when the room finally emptied down to a few of us, Reeves, Alicia, Dr. Park, a couple of security folks, Eddie hovering like an anxious satellite. Colton came over, and up close, he didn't look like a magazine cover anymore. He looked like a person who hadn't slept enough and had just found the reason. You saved my company, he said, like he was testing the sentence for wobble. No, I said, I slowed a disaster. You'll save it when you hire people for what they know, not what they look like, and you pay them to argue with you. He smiled with half his mouth and said, done so. I walked through the door, that sentence opened. Build a pipeline. I told him kids from neighborhoods like mine pay them to learn where knives hide in fine print. There are a lot of Mayas who never get a seat, because nobody tells them the table exists. And he said, draw it up with Alicia, come in Monday. And the only thing I could think to say was, I have to get Grace to preschool by 8, which made Dr. Park laugh for the first time all night, real and warm. 6 months later, I wore a badge that read, Director of Integrity and Risk, which sounds like the former when you do the latter. I had an office with a sliver of lake view and a corkboard of stickies in my daughter's handwriting. We didn't call our kids interns because interns are what you call people. You plan to forget in September. We called them fellows. We caught 19 problems before they hatched and handed 3 to the state before anyone could light a fuse. People who once looked at me and saw a tray started looking at me and seeing a compass. And still, every night after Grace fell asleep, I read, because it's never done. Then came the twist I didn't plan. A blog post with a headline meant to feed outrage said I set the whole thing up, that I took pictures I had no right to take, that I engineered the moment for clout. It said I targeted Horizon Vale for months and baited them, that I'm no better than the people I exposed, and I'll be honest, it stung for a minute. Then I remembered the rule my aunt drilled into me. The only people who ever call you a trap are the ones trying to talk you into a hole. Still, the post did what it was built to do. It made some folks mad, made others doubt. A few slid into my DMs to ask if any of it was true, and I answered the way I know how. I'm the girl who bussed tables and read footnotes on smoke breaks. The mother who taped vocabulary cards above the sink so her kid would grow up with a mouthful of tools. The niece who learned that money has roots and predators follow roots. The woman who told a billionaire not to sign his name when everybody else told her to know her place. You can call that a setup if it helps you sleep. I call it citizenship. Damien once told me people lose jobs when deals die. Real people. And he's right. Real people do lose jobs. But real people also lose homes when shells collapse. And the ones Damien defends always make sure their parachutes open first. So if you want to fight about the photos, the timing, the tone, put it in the comments. And let's have the conversation. Tell me if I crossed a line by taking a picture, or if they crossed a canyon when they tried to turn a company into a washing machine. Tell me whether whistleblowing starts with paper or with courage. Tell me who gets to be in the room and who only gets to pour the wine, because when I asked Mr. Reeves, please don't sign that I wasn't just protecting a billionaire's balance sheet. I was protecting the payrolls that feed cafeteria lines and car notes and rent checks. And if that makes me a nuisance with good aim, fine. I've been called worse and the math always catches up. If this hit a nerve, hit subscribe, and if you've been underestimated because of how you look or where you're from, share your story below. Was I right to speak up, or did I go too far? Should those photos have cost me a job, or did they save thousands? Where's the line between doing your job and doing the right thing? Who gets to draw it? I'll read every word, and if you disagree, all good. Bring your best argument. The comments are open, and the late-night debates are where this channel lives.